Oh, snap. Pardon me. Getting lost in my world a little bit. As you see, I'm playing with my toys, my collectibles. Sorry about that, guys. But you know who it is. It's Zeus Cruz of Olympian Multimedia giving you another segment of Get Things Done. In this particular segment, as you can see here, we are going back to an earlier video and an earlier concept discussing miniature photography. I actually gotten more inquiries about miniature photography as far as like how to start your project, what's entailed with it. Does it have to be kind of like big budget? The scope of your project has to be large. The answer is no, absolutely not. As you can check out here, we have something that we're setting up right now for a future project. And the neat thing about it is when you're doing miniature photography, you got to make it your own. And you don't have to be so dependent on, and I emphasized this in an earlier video, so much necessarily stringent on the things that you can buy at the store. You know, to make it more personable, it is nice to kind of just make things on your own if it's possible. Or take some things that you wouldn't normally utilize within your miniature photography project and actually incorporate it as part of your concept. What do I mean by that? Well, as you notice here, within here, let me turn the lighting on so we get a better understanding. So as you notice here, we have a lot of different props on here. It has geometrical shapes to it or whatnot. These are actually utilized if you were doing some type of display. As you notice here, if I take these out the way, they're usually meant to display certain things if you're doing like some type of jewelry or some type of product that's small enough to go ahead and be laid out on top of the platforms and whatnot. These is what these are made for. But as you notice, they come in like different shapes. And usually, I'll move this out the way, you actually can get a whole box full of them. And as you notice, they come in different shapes, different designs, and so forth. They don't have to always be a solid white either. They could come in different colors as well. And you can use that assortment as you see fit. But the point is, being that they are different shapes, you can actually utilize them as we're utilizing them here to create some type of a landscape, some type of structure around the main focal point of the photo shoot, in which in this particular case, we're using this, which again are just simple props that you can buy at any store and whatnot. Very cost efficient, very inexpensive, but it adds a small amount of texture to your layout, to the overall scope of the scene that you're trying to put together. And we're actually going to do two different ones with a camera. And as you can see here, we have the boombox. They kind of just illustrate different facets of multimedia, but do it in a clever way in a different scenery. And as you notice, if you put these up, it just enhances the overall backdrop by adding these geometrical shapes, and then you yourself can put them into a different design. Clearly, you're going to have some type of backdrop that's going to match what you're doing. As you see, we have the small amount of props here with the trees. We also have the colorful jewels in between, just to add a little bit of color. Again, layers of textures. That's what you want. You want to build some type of story within your photo. And by doing that, you have to create layers within it. And then from there, we added a nice little touch. And I can't take all the credit for this. This design was actually built by my producer. Shout out to Nani. What's up, girl? But she added the nice touch of this. And if you notice, that just looks incredible. And I know you're looking at it from a formatting perspective, as far as like you have the lighting in play, want the wiring, as you notice, be in display. That all comes with your editing process to allow to take all them focal points out of your picture and just put the emphasis on the lighting and obviously the things around it. But the beautiful thing about this is that you could take the shot from a more open-ended spectrum when you're encompassing everything as one, or you can rely on the makeshift entrance, so to speak, that you made here, and then you can kind of just zoom in, and from that perspective, you make everything more larger than life than what it really is. So it's all dependent on your frame rate and your ratio, as far as like how big you want the picture to be, how much of a scope, what specifically out of the photo or out of your concept that you constructed, what is the primary emphasis is going to be on. But I just think it's cool. It's subtle. You got a little bit of coloring in there. Nice spacing between everything. And again, you're using something simple as these, which is meant for something else differently, to create a landscape for your miniature photography project. And then in two, you could get even more inquisitive, or a little bit more different. And again, inexpensive prop of just using an actual frame that you could put in place if you want to condense the scope of what you're trying to take a picture of. And you might be able to even incorporate the frame in the shot itself, if need be, again, just to add a little bit more design. You also have the ability to build things as well. As you see here, it's another shot that we're going to be taking. As again, my producer Nani has put together a dollhouse. And we're going to be doing a concept with that in the near future, and it will be displayed in a future video. But as you see, she's putting together different types of furniture and whatnot that we're going to be putting in here. These are things that you could build on your own that doesn't take much time as well. And again, you're not so reliant on buying things that's already made. And then, see if I can get it. As you can see here, I got the bed. And you could put your own spin on it. Because obviously you can design it the way you want, color it the way you want. And you get the desired results that you're looking for. And then one last thing, excuse-moi. We got another concept that we're coming up with. And again, this is something that we made, in which we're going to do a concept based on the theater of arts. And as you can see, this is a makeshift thing that's been created by our prop department. And this will be the basic layout. We're all going to add a little bit more features to it, a little bit more components to it. But this is the basic layout, or the basic construction for a stage, to kind of give it that theater feel. And again, this is coming in the near video in the near future as well. But again, it's something that you can make. It's inexpensive. These materials, you can find them anywhere for cheap. And you're personalizing it and making your scene more personable. And that's always the objective. You always want to find ways to be as creative as possible when you're doing these type of projects. So again, we're just giving you some ideas out there It doesn't take much to just kind of put some thought together, to think about your concept, the scope. What do you specifically want to emphasize within your photo, within your miniature photography project? Scope is very important if you wanted to make it seem like you're actually looking at a miniature, or you're trying to make things more larger than life. These are all things that you need to take in consideration, but understand that you could do it in a cost-efficient way. A lot of these things you can make up on your own, or you can utilize other things that are meant for a different purpose and put that and create a concept and construct your project from there. So that's it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And again, this is Zeus Cruz of Olympian Multimedia. Appreciating you taking your time out to check this out. And I guess the only thing left to say is get things done. Check you later.